This episode is dedicated to the Second Amendment. This episode of Tech Chop is brought to you by Dyn DNS. Like the new background for today? Welcome to episode 47 of Tech Chop. I, of course, am Paul Bauer, aka twitter.com/ElderPablo. Some of you might know me by another name from back in the day. Petty Officer 2nd Class Paul Bauer of the United States Navy. I joined the Navy in 1998, and when I did, I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. I don't believe that oath has an expiration date. In light of recent shootings, members of the government, both federal and in some cases local, have decided to exploit these tragedies to further their agenda for more gun control. Instead of enforcing existing laws, they feel it is better to infringe on the rights of people who have done nothing wrong, all in order to make a select few feel good. Well, in this episode, my former shipmate, Petty Officer Stultz, who served with me on the USS Shiloh, and I exercise our Second Amendment rights. And since this is a technology show, the way we did it was by taking some old hard drives that needed to be destroyed out to some BLM land near Campo, California to wipe them with bullets. Before I show you the fun we had, let's take a quick break for our sponsors. At my day job, when I'm not podcasting, I manage a number of web servers for a technology company in La Jolla, California. If you've ever managed web servers, you've probably had to manage public DNS as well. Well, nobody does DNS better than the people over at Dyn. I mean, let's be serious here. Uptime is the bottom line, right? I've used other DNS providers in the past, and none of them compared to the level of service and ease of use of Dyn. Don't just take my word for it. Major online companies like Twitter, Zappos, Netflix, and CNBC all trust Dyn for rock-solid uptime. Quite simply, Dyn helps websites with best-in-class uptime and keeps web traffic to those sites flowing and fast. Dyn's enterprise-level DNS offers advanced features like global traffic management, load balancing, and active failover. Dyn also has service tiers for companies of any size to get started. Dyn services more than 4 million customers around the world. Stop taking chances with uptime and start talking to Dyn about best-in-class managed DNS. Get faster DNS lookups by using Dyn for DNS. Visit dyn.com/podcast-RV. Fill out the contact form or start shopping right away and save 30% by using promo code PODRV13 at checkout. Again, visit dyn.com/podcast-RV. As I mentioned in the first part of the show, my former shipmate and I took some old hard drives out to some BLM land near Campo, California. This is one of the few places left in San Diego County where a person can go out and shoot. Mostly because of stuff like this.
You got some sort of a coffee maker or some shit. It's just fucking... It's ridiculous.
Yeah, these kind of people make...
You bring it with you, you take it with you. Shot up a perfectly good ammo can. Before we leave, we'll back my truck up here. I'm not taking the big box, but we'll take all this other shit.
Yeah. This is why...
Needs to help clean up.
This is why outdoor ranges in California are closing up.
And basically, for me, any place I go, even just the bathroom I went back there, like paper towels all over the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, something like that, I don't want someone coming in as I walk out thinking I left all that shit on the ground.
Yeah.
So everywhere I go in life, no matter what I do, I try to clean things up more than what I find them, because there's always going to be some a-hole doing crap like this. And it frustrates me.
It's also because we live in one of the most gun-controlled states in the U.S. A lot of people in places like Texas and Wyoming are worried about proposed legislation by Senator Feinstein and other Democrats in Washington. Rightly so, since we pretty much already have Feinstein's laws here, and it sucks. Well, enough about that. Let's shoot some shit. So I'm out here in Campo, California. I'm here with one of my former shipmates from the USS Shiloh. And we're out here, we have some old hard drives that have failed us, but we want to make sure that no one can use them to get sensitive data off them. So we're exercising our Second Amendment rights today, and we're going to shoot some holes through these so that they're unusable. All right, Brian, so what What kind of guns do we got here?
We have a Saiga AK version model, chambered in .308 Winchester. I have a Kimber 1911 TLE RL2, and just from basically being in the Navy and having a kind of a love for them after having used them for several years. The trusty Beretta, most people will know this is the 92 FS. This is not the FSO, this is actually the M9, as you can see by the military site. And they put the military markings on it versus, the typical markings you'll find with the 92 FS.
Awesome. All right, so we're basically out here shooting 3 different rounds. We have a .308 Winchester for our AK-47. That's California legalized. We have our .45 caliber, and we have our 9mm.
While the 9mm is a useful and effective handgun, .45 caliber speaks much louder. We're not quite sure that we've done the job with the 9mm. That's a nice little, you can actually see the bullet sitting inside this hole right there.
Yeah, that's a 9mm bullet. Alright, here we got the aftermath. So this is the first one. This is primarily 9mm. So you can see the slugs embedded in there. So you can see that 9mm don't really have the stopping power as like a .45, but those platters are pretty screwed up. And this beauty was done in by pretty much 345 slugs. So the absolute destruction was when we shot it from the rear, because this is pretty much just ABS plastic here, and this is actually pretty strong material, but those platters are screwed up. And this bad boy, that hole right in the center, that's from the AK-47, the .308. Then we have a couple of 45s, and then we finally did it in with 9mm at close range. So yeah, these drives you're not going to get too much stuff off these. I hope you all had as much fun watching this as we had shooting. If you couldn't tell by the video, the 9mm pistols didn't do that great of a job puncturing the hard drives, but the .45 and the .308 from the AK-47 did the trick. If you support the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and oppose any attempt of the federal government from trying to ban firearms from law-abiding citizens, instead of focusing on the root cause of the issue, then I urge you to visit doesguncontrolwork.com and contact your representatives on each of the proposed gun bills in Congress right now. If you have any questions or comments, sound off below or hit us up on Facebook or on Twitter. Be sure to like, fave, subscribe, and we'll see you next time right here on Tech Chop. Tech Chop is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. techpodcast.com. If it's tech, it's here.